It's a fantasy, and all you have to do is get into the sauna and sit there. That's why I'm a big proponent of it. It's like so many people are so sick and overtired and stressed out and, probably borderline obese. And to get to the gym and do a vigorous workout, that's such a leap. But to get into a sauna and just sit there with your homies or your family or yourself, much smaller barrier for entry.
My number one thing is just to sit down for like an hour. And just to sit down and not do anything and just like let my body naturally do what it's supposed to do. Awesome. Yep.
Thanks, it is.
Welcome to the Sweat Fanatic Podcast, where we talk all things sweating. And welcome to the new studio at the new facility that we're going to be doing our podcast from. And I have returning guests today that I'm very excited to have on. They've been on before. They run the Hive MKE, which is a social wellness and social club where they have events and they build a community for health and wellness and to get together and have a good time and do things that are healthy and feel good. So I got Tyler Hart and Bill Robertson on the podcast from the Walking Hive. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're great. Yeah, thanks for having us. Let's get a quick Arsenio Hall of the Spin Model. Eric, thanks for having us on your beautiful new podcast studio. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for breaking in the new podcast studio.
Yeah, we got to christen the space, do it right. We got a sauna in before this, and so for on camera, just strikingly handsome, more than usual. It's thanks to this man. He's to blame. The cheese flowing, the energy's flowing after that. Yeah, this epic infrared sauna session, connecting with Mr. Tyler here and also our good friend Daniel Thompson. So yeah, overall feels good to be here.
So that was the first time I met Dan. Has he been part of the community for a while? Is he newer? When did he come in the picture?
Yeah, so he's relatively new to the Hive community. We actually got introduced to him through a mutual friend that's been cold plunging with us for years now. And him and his wife Rachel have really just been a blessing to us. Been super supportive on setting up for events and marketing and planning and things like this. So we've been having routine meetings, all four of us, and kind of dreaming about what's next for the Hive collaboratively together. And so yeah, we're really excited about the direction that we're heading and got just a ton of momentum. And it's just great to have two more super dynamic highly integrated people on the team. And yeah, we're excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's going to be a great addition to the community you guys got built there. So yeah, Tyler, you reached out to me. You said you wanted to come down and try one of our saunas. Now they absolutely come on down. And what was so we specialize in infrared saunas.
Yeah.
And what was your kind of opinion of infrared saunas coming in? How often have you tried them? Did you like them? Did you not like them? What was your thought process coming in?
Yeah, so I have been one of the biggest naysayers of infrared saunas for a long time. I just have never been able to get a really good sweat down. I'm used to the traditional Finnish saunas or, the pop-up tents with the wood-burning stoves that we have that just get rocking. You just get super sweaty. And I love that about the whole sauna experience, but I've just never been able to find it. I've been to studios all across the country, and the infrared saunas have just never really gotten me to that place. And then today we drop into yours, and within 9 minutes, I looked at the clock, we were just rolling with sweat. Hung on there for 36 minutes solo, and it was great. I'm a fan of infrared saunas. They gotta be good health specific. Yeah, we got the rundown from Eric here on what else is going on and with infrared saunas as a whole, and just being an average consumer of saunas, I've had a similar experience going into infrared saunas, not getting that great of a sweat, and then you get all these advertisements of these things being pushed on you. You hear some good things about them, of course, from the companies because they're biased and they're pushing their own product, but it's cool to get a breakdown of what makes an infrared sauna actually really effective. And yeah, we got a great sweat on in the sauna. We're feeling really good after that. And so let's go good health saunas.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of sauna companies, especially infrared, they forget about what people are buying these for. They're buying them to improve their health, improve their wellness, and feel a lot better. Yeah. And then they get caught up on all these different things, these gimmicks, stuff like that. Some things aren't gimmicks, but they forget about the heating system. People are buying and using an infrared sauna or any sauna in general for the health benefits, to feel better, all the stuff that comes with that. But at the end of the day, that comes from the heating system. And so that's why our main focus is on that heating system. Let's have the best heaters in the market. Let's have the fastest heat up time, highest temperatures, and then all those health benefits that they're looking for fall into play.
Yeah, and all of the health, well, most of the scientific data comes from studies done on traditional Finnish saunas. So there's like lots of conjecture around like how effective infrared saunas actually are in relation to, you know, what Finnish traditional saunas have done for people up to this point, what these studies are illuminating. And since your saunas are getting a lot hotter, I'm imagining you're getting those benefits of, you know, decreasing all-cause mortality by quite a bit. I think it's like around a 50% drop in all-cause mortality from traditional Finnish sauna if you're doing 4 to 5 sessions per week. So it's just amazing to see someone in the infrared sauna space developing a product that gets that heat up there and really provokes that level of sweat.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. So the original studies with the heat shock proteins, that was done on a Finnish sauna and at a higher temperature. But what we've learned since then with hot yoga, hot baths, infrared saunas, it's really about the core temperature of our body. If we can get that core temperature to 102 degrees or up, that's when we see the heat shock proteins activated to see the benefits and stuff like that. So to be specific, it's 40% decrease in all-cause mortality, 50% decrease in risk for heart attack, heart disease, CHF, and then 66% reduced risk for dementia or Alzheimer's by getting our core temperature above 102 degrees, minimum 4 times a week for 30-minute sessions. So what else can you do?
It's a panacea. It's a panacea, and all you have to do is get into the sauna and sit there. That's why I'm a big proponent of it. It's like, so many people are so sick and overtired and stressed out and, you know, probably borderline obese. And to get to the gym and do a vigorous workout, that's such a leap. But to get into a sauna and just sit there with your homies or your family or yourself, much smaller barrier for entry. You get that moderate level of cardiovascular pump that you would from, you know, exercise or a light jog or lightweight weightlifting, things like this. So I love the accessibility of saunas, and that's, you know, a big reason we're bringing the work that we do to the table is those health benefits and how accessible it is, how fun it is, how community oriented it is, because we get to be in circle and in intimacy off of our phones inside the saunas, which is another big component of what we're offering, is that community connection. And as we all know, or I shouldn't say as we all know, but as many of us know, human connection is essential as it relates to longevity and just good health as a whole. So you could be doing all the biohacks, pulling all the levers you want, doing cold plunging, all the nutritious foods, going to bed on time. But if you don't have meaningful relationships, you're not connecting on a regular basis with people you love, you're not going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience personally.
Right on. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So talking about community, so how's the community been? How's it been since we last talked? Is it growing? Is it expanding? How the events, have you increased your number of events? I guess we'll start with how's it been going?
Yeah. I mean, it's been going great. The community is consistently been growing. We've sold out multiple events now at this point, and continue to seek out like really intentional and like kind of strategic collaboration with other dynamic players in the market. So whether that's, you know, yoga or, you know, fitness and, you know, things, just trying to like get more people into
Even music.
Music. I mean, professional athletes. Like, I mean, we're really like trying to get people into the space to do some of the education. I think like the thing that came up when you talk about all of those percentages and like the sauna benefits, it's like, imagine what choices they would make if like they knew that was available to them. Like, we had a woman in the sauna this past weekend asking about like mental health benefits and like, have you ever met anybody that's like got off of different prescriptions because of like they add this practice in? And I'm like, well, I haven't had like that direct experience, but I know that happens for people where it's like you'd have this decision point of like, do I want to be on meds for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Or should I try something new like sauna, sauning 4 times a week or trying to cold plunge or whatever it is. And so I think like a big part of just what we've been doing is bringing people together, like educating them around like the benefits of this, both in terms of just like the science-backed stuff, and then also like the energetics of being in a community, doing hard things together. And what we've just noticed is like people taking a much more active position, and like I have choice and sovereignty in like my future, my health, who I hang out with, like, and what I do. And that's like at the heart of like what we're trying to inspire people is like, you don't have to just run the routine and do the program. Like you can make your own decisions and change your life quickly if you'd like.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, events have been going great. We had a goal of like doing one every weekend. And so we just came off the tail end of having free events this past weekend.
Wow. Is that the first time you've had 3 events in a week?
Triple decker, it was.
Yeah. It was first time, and like, and also just like beautiful differences. Like we, like say we did a collaborative event with Tribal Yoga School on Friday morning, which was like sunrise meditation, very restorative, like,
And directional prayer, and like, you know, just getting really still with one another as the sun's coming up. Meanwhile, the sauna tents are getting stoked up, and from there, transition into the sauna tents. We do some community connection games in the sauna tents, like singing together and you know, different authentic relating exercises. And yeah, so that was really beautiful. First time collaboration with our friend Alyssa of Tribal Yoga School.
yeah.
So I just want to back up a little bit. So if I'm going to come to the Hives event, what can I expect? What can I expect when I show up? How do I sign up? And then kind of walk me through what a event looks like if I'm brand new to your events and I've never done it before.
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, thanks. So you can find us online at hivemke.com. All of our events are posted on our website, so you can just buy your ticket or seat, and we do offer free events too if you just, but that's like the main point to go register for you our offering. You can keep up on that through Instagram. Like we have like pretty strong following on Instagram, and always trying to like, again, just create more awareness around what we're doing, and both in terms of events and the benefits. But when you come to an event, like we typically ask you to bring like, you know, a towel, change of clothes, a journal. A lot of things come through where people like want to write things down, and just like yourself, bring your courage, bring your come as you are.
Bring your anxiety, bring your bring your depression. It's all welcome here. That's a really big point we make in the space, and kind of a permission slip I try to offer people just through being myself, because not every day is sunshine and rainbows. And I think in society we've kind of normalized just withholding and keeping things inside, because we deemed, you know, going through these tough times unacceptable. So all this energy is stagnating within. So the invitation is always to show up and be authentic, whatever that is. And that allows that energy to move. It allows you to be seen in it, and you're no longer isolated in it, which we're facing a massive issue with disconnection via isolation. A lot of that has to do with, you know, not consciously revealing what my experience is, because at that point I'm alone in it, and I can't really feel connected to others if nobody's seeing where I'm truly at.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, come as you are. I mean, I have my good friend Preston, his father had to say his family, he was like, show up, be awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
And so that, but the biggest part is just to show up. Like, yeah, come to the thing, do the work, like, just, you know, be present. And so we'll do like a short welcome, just talk about the intentions for the day, you know, walk through logistics, format, answer any questions. We also, that'll be short to start. And then we typically start in the saunas, and we'll do like 20 to 30 minutes in the sauna, in community all together. That's a good space to get to know each other. Like they'll mention, do some authentic relating games, just get to know each other and settle into the space. About 5 minutes before we exit, we'll do a breathwork practice as we prepare to go into the cold water. And so we'll talk about like the intentions of going into the water, that you know, there's tremendous health benefits, mental clarity, but also there's a relationship that you're building with this water, and with yourself. And so people show up at our events, might be the first time. You got to ask yourself the question, like, why did I show up this time? And what is the purpose of me being here today? And just to get curious with yourself as to like, what's going on in my life that like now I finally came to do that thing I said I wanted to do. And now I'm here with these special people, and what else is here for me to find? And so we encourage you to like get curious with ourselves while we go through this breathwork practice, and ask people to regulate their breathing. And we'll walk all down to the water together. We'll do a community cold plunge, like 1 to 3 minutes. But really, any attempt is a win. If that's a toe in the water, that's
Do you
great.
get a lot of people that have never been in the cold water before like that?
Every event will have
Yeah.
at least 1%.
And I'd imagine there's a little bit of coaching involved, probably. There's like
Yeah, you speak into some of the process and, really just getting intentional about how you show up in the cold water and what that can mean for you. Of course, there's all these physiological benefits, but there's also, the overcoming adversity component, like proving to yourself that I can step into cold water, I can stay here, I can lean in, I can breathe through it. And ultimately, that leads to one totally revolutionizing their relationship to stress. And we encounter stress on a daily basis in ways in which we don't expect all the time. So what are we going to do when we encounter that stress or that crisis? Are we going to unconsciously react and like freak out and probably do something we regret? Or are we going to slow down, come back to the breath through the nose, long exhale, and consciously respond, and therefore make an optimal decision? So that's some of the philosophy we share within the practice and within the events that we're doing, which I've been to a bunch of sauna and cold plunge facilities, and they don't offer that at all. So that's something that I really enjoy bringing to the table to help people deepen their practice, and this is the purpose of it. There can be many purposes, of course, but these are some of the things we shine a spotlight on when people are coming in to practice these modalities.
That's awesome. I love it. And then, so the breath work, are you doing some of Lynn's Hoff stuff, or just doing the type of breath work you kind of like to work with?
Yeah, it's I think they call it like alkaline breathing, like technically. And it's just really long inhales through the nose and then even longer exhales out through the mouth. And you purse your lips and push like you're going through a straw. So it's like this, and you're creating pressure, which opens up the alveoli in the lungs. So like our natural breathing is so much lower in our bodies that we're down here, that we rarely like get this upward expansion. But on the exhale, if you push out, it creates pressure to actually start to reopen those things, and then we're back in through the nose, and then filling it with air, and then we're pushing back out. So
So there's like down-regulatory stuff to like prime the nervous system to deal with that, pretty intense level of stress when you get in the water. We haven't so much experimented with much of the hyperventilatory stuff, which is similar to the Wim Hof and more activating and energizing, and can almost get you to these psychedelic states. It obviously has its own unique benefits in tandem with cold water, but it's so simple. It's like, if there's going to be one breath tool that we share, I think that's it, because you can use it anytime, anywhere. You can't just like stop in the middle of an argument and start doing Wim Hof, so.
Probably easier for somebody to
You could, but
never done like good breath work like that before.
It's more accessible. It's just like, okay, we're just breathing in and out in a slow manner and breathing, into the lower lobes of the lungs, and you're making sure we down-regulate and, get present through that.
Yeah, the breath works. It's one of the things that when I do yoga or hot yoga, is that the breath work is so important to stay centered, to exhaling, inhaling, breathing out of your nose. And when I do a hot yoga session, I typically look at two parts. Yeah, there's the physical part of it, where I'm actually going to do the postures, do the stretching, and the balance. But also at the same time, I'm trying to keep my breath stable, keep my breath organized. And in the mental part of that too, it's almost like it's that mental exercise of keep your breathing controlled. I'm going to get mental benefits from that. It's going to calm me, center me. And then the physical benefits that come along with stretching and all that, and the balance and all that type of stuff. So I love it. I love the mental work. I love the breath work. I love everything you guys are doing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of mindset components, and of course, there's a lot of the physiological benefits we speak to as well. And then the interpersonal components, which are, I just think it's so easy to overlook the value of meaningful connecting with other people as it relates to just like a health regimen. We don't usually think about it typically in relation to like nutrition and, drinking clean water and moving on a daily basis, so getting light in our eyes. And of course, there's like, who am I connecting with on a daily basis, including myself? How am I developing that internal connection? and like who are my people that I can, you know, go to and be myself, and they're willing to hold that, and they're willing to share that themselves, and we can have this genuine interaction, which is really you know, applies a lot of fuel to the gas tank in general, or just holistically speaking.
Awesome. So if when I come to the event, you know, we're gonna start. First of all, I better get my ticket right away, right? Because you guys are always sold out.
We're always sold out, guys. They sell it every time you see them.
And
Get them now.
so I'm gonna show up, and then I'm gonna bring a towel, and we're gonna start kind of with a gathering, is what it
We'll
is.
circle up.
And then we're gonna go in the sauna, 20, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
finish up with some breathing exercises, and then go as a community to the cold water, and then hit the cold water. And then, what do we do after that? Is it back to the sauna? Is it anything else you're doing?
Well, it depends on the weather, if we go straight back to the sauna or not. But typically we will do a movement practice after that.
Okay.
So we'll circle up again in community, and we'll do some breathing and movement together to like reactivate the body and use our own heating mechanism to like get us back to homeostasis. And it doesn't take long. Like we'll be out there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, kind of like warming back up. And whereas like you came out of the water cold, now your body is like activated, and then people will just be standing outside, just be like, I don't even feel cold anymore. And so like that's like what we typically recommend and like to do. On Saturday it was a high of 5, and we were pretty much out of the water back into the saunas, and just trying to be mindful of like safety.
Yeah, for
Those
sure.
types of things, because that's a big component too. You're like, we're coming out in the elements, and just need to be mindful of your hands and your feet, and you know,
Something about the fresh air too, you know? Oh, man, that fresh air. Yeah, I love it. Inside, a lot of people are inside their house so much in the wintertime when it gets cold out, and we're stuck in there. And if you get outside, you get with people, you're in the water, you're in the heat, you're stretching, and then that fresh air. And I can speak to it specifically working home shows or state fairs where I'm in a building all day long. All I hear is the background noise. And it's the next day, if I'm in that environment for a couple of days, and then the next day I go outside and say I go for a long run outside, there's something about that fresh air where I just feel energized.
You go Super Saiyan 3 on him.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z reference.
Yeah. So my brother's big into Dragon Ball, so a little bit of it, but not as much, for sure.
Oh, dude, that contrast, especially in the winter, it's like most people are cooped up, and they're not really willing to, you know, embrace the elements, just 'cause, it's a little bit uncomfortable to get outside, but we were just talking about this in the sauna, all this recirculating stagnant air in your house. Most people aren't opening their windows because, of course, it's frigid as hell out, so I mean, I encourage everyone to get outside on a daily basis if they can, even if it's like 5 degrees. And just the many benefits that come with that. Very important to emphasize. Because, things can get very hard when you're just, you know, a couch potato in your home, and you're stagnating in every single way imaginable, and you're not getting that natural sunlight in your eyes, on your skin, and maintaining that connection to nature. There's a lot of different ways to engage with
And then
that.
you're grounding as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's another element in which we're, you know, happy to offer. That's sort of separates us from other sauna and cold plunge experiences. There's one other organization in the area that does sort of nature-based contrast therapy near McKinley Pier, but like we're straight up on the beach, you know, feet on the ground, and feels really good to maintain that connection like that.
Yeah, my best friend Luke got me into grounding years ago. It has to be 7, 8 years ago. And I just remember he would go, hey, I go out to Delafield and I do this barefoot running out on this big field where they have all these trails and miles of trails and pastures and fields. And I'm like, you take our shoes off? And he's like, yeah, take your shoes off, take your socks off. I go, is it going to hurt my feet? He goes, you're getting used to it. We're pretty quick. And sure enough, I would meet him every couple of days, and we'd go for a barefoot run out there. And then one day, I don't even remember why, but I was there by myself, and I'm like, I'm just keep my shoes on, keep my socks on. I'm just going to go for a run. I think I wanted to go for speed or something. And then I got done with it, and I felt good, but I felt like something was missing.
Yeah.
And then the next time I went back, did a barefoot run, and then I was like, that's what I was looking for. And that, it's just the grounding, you know?
Right. How long were the runs that you were doing barefoot? I'm curious.
So I think Luke only wants to do like 2 miles.
Okay.
So he likes to take breaks. But I got to, so, yeah. So eventually, once I started doing it by myself, because he's got a big family that he's got to take care of, and I would go out every other day. They turned it into 7 miles, 11 miles. But then one time, I'm running down a hill, barefoot, and my heel hit a rock. Oh, and it hurt. It hurt bad, and I was out of condition for probably about a month after that. And then I realized, okay, look where I'm stepping. And it was after a rain too, because one thing I think I kind of learned it from doing this, that when it rains, it brings things down. It brings leaves down, sticks. It brings the rocks up, sand away, stuff like that. So there's more obstacles out on the trail after it just rained, and that's what I did. So, but yeah, no, I still do it to this day. I'll do it for the rest of my life. You know, is when it's warm. I've been upgraded for doing it in 0-degree temperature.
Yeah. And what a beautiful thing to then like have the awareness that like, well, after it rains, this is also going to happen.
Yep.
You know, and just like, you know, and you would never do that unless you like got out into the nature and like tried the thing you're like questioning that. And that's like, oh, actually this expanded my life in so many ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool experiences there with wildlife. I mean, the deer out there is just super cool. I'd be running right next to them, and they're 10 feet from me, and they stop, and we're just staring at each other. It's like, what's up, dude? What's up? And they keep on my way.
Yeah.
So, no, I enjoy it. I encourage people to try that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, what other reason am I going to be outside with my shirt off and barefoot besides doing sauna and cold plunge? So that's something I like to kind of drill home with people, is like, this is a great opportunity to engage with nature in a deeper manner.
Yeah, I mean, you can make, again, like, it's all like just choices. Like, you can make the decision, like, you know, cold weather is bad, nature is scary, I'm gonna go get sick, like, all these things. And it's like, and you make that choice, then you end up being sick anyway.
Yeah.
Stuck inside your house and just kind of collapsing in on itself. It's like, or, you know, go do something adventurous and then take the plunge, like, with us or whoever. I mean, like, again, like, it's more about the personal embodiment of, like, choice. So.
Are you guys thinking about branching out? I asked you this last time, but are you thinking about branching outside of Milwaukee at all?
We have. We had an event in Muskego at Fast Bay Brew House, which tragically just went completely down. So we were really sad to hear that, because we were going to do a residency there and hold events there continuously through the winter months. But yeah, we're definitely open to exploring outside the Milwaukee market, but we were definitely, very intimately connected with the Midwest Ocean. So we're jamming there a lot, and we go there on our own accord frequently as well. I live like half a mile from Bradford Beach, so I go for walks down there. I don't always go. I'm actually doing less cold plunging lately, just because I'm, monitoring my own level of stress across the whole system. So it's like, you can kind of push yourself over an edge in a bad way.
Yeah.
Cold plunging or even sauna, considering where you're at in your nervous system, just allostatic load as a whole, which is just the full amount of stress you're carrying in all areas of life.
Yeah.
But we're open to exploring outside of Milwaukee for sure.
Do you ever go surfing down there?
No, I would like to though, but it looks pretty meek. The waves look quite meek in my eyes, and I don't think I'm going to invest in a $400 surfboard to ride 2-foot waves. Yeah.
I know it's few and far between that those waves get similar. The first time I saw that, I was like, interesting, surfing in Lake Michigan, but
I would do kiteboarding though. That looks really intriguing.
Kiteboarding?
Kiteboarding. So it's like a wakeboard, and then you have a kite that just like whips you around. And it's relatively windy just in general on Lake Michigan on the beaches. So yeah, a fun option to just get outside and get healthier and have fun.
Yeah, awesome. So what else are you guys? Is there anything else you just want to talk about outside of the Milwaukee Hive? Is there anything else? I mean, you do meditations, right, Bill?
Not as much lately. Okay. I would say running. If there's a meditative practice that I have, it's just jogging outside, no music, just me, myself, and I. I haven't done any barefoot running yet. I would like to, though. We have a friend Spencer that does that as well, so I was curious, and that piqued interest when you had mentioned that. But I did some meditation this morning. It was just sitting still in front of my red light and focusing on my breath. So I think the main impetus and takeaway from that is just learning how to identify with awareness instead of, the infinite amount of phenomena that can show up in our mind, like different thoughts and different emotions and feelings, because usually we unconsciously identify with those things. We are not those things. We are the space in which those things show up. So when we practice meditation, we observe those things, and by default, we're in our awareness. We're practicing being in the seat of the observer. So, I mean, that's just kind of my philosophy around getting still, or if I'm running and as I'm running, that's how I'm participating in the moment. But we haven't really formally led so much meditation at the Hive events, but I'm sure we're always open to different modalities and ways of incorporating these types of things into what we do.
Yeah, no, it's meditation. It sounds right up your alley, especially with yoga and you, Tyler. So
Yeah, yoga's just been a practice of mine for 20 years, and I enjoy practicing it, teaching it, leading it, just being involved with it. Like what you said earlier about, the body, like movements, piece of yoga, but also the breath. And like the word yoga like means like union, and it's the coming together of those things, the body, the breath, mind, like into this like cohesive, like thing. And when I started doing yoga, it was like very much fitness oriented. Just like, oh, there's this thing, it's great for my body, it's a good workout. And over time, it's like ebbed and flowed like into all different like aspects of my life. Like use it for healing, use it for energizing, use it for, just like, I mean, finding ease to calm. Yeah, community. I mean, I was telling you earlier, the 3 people that I ran into last Friday, they were all like, oh, I've been meaning to try yoga, but I just don't have anyone to go with. And I'm like, well, you found the guy that goes to a lot of yoga, so like I'll shoot you some of the opportunities and figure it out, because the more people doing that, it just can get more.
Yeah, that was for it. When you said that, that was me 10 years ago before I did yoga. A little bit overweight, firefighter. Didn't take my health that I didn't take my health that seriously as I do now, but I always remember I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to try it, but I was always, because what I had in my mind was I'm going to go to this yoga class and everybody's going to be in picture perfect shape. Everybody's going to be picture perfect postures. And then they're all going to judge me thinking, well, what's this guy? He doesn't belong here, which you go to one class and you figure out right away. That is not what it is. That's not even close. It's actually the complete opposite. Everybody's like me. They're trying to do the same thing. Everybody's open-minded. Nobody's judging. And it's just an overall great experience. I recommend anybody go to a yoga class.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you just find more of yourself there. Like it's not bad at all. But yeah, that was great.
Awesome. So what's on the horizon? Is there any guys you want to talk about? When's the next event? Is there anything else you're doing? What's next for the Hive?
Yeah.
We got the Polar Plunge coming up, so we're gonna be setting up there. I don't think we'll be having this podcast out by then, so this will be in hindsight at that point. But through the winter, we're gonna have events at least once per month basis. So, and then we're just open. I mean, we're like experimenting with doing more, but we're also trying to conserve our energy because we're working towards opening up a brick and mortar space, which could be a nice segue into that, unless you have some thoughts to share about what's coming up. We do have a cold water challenge as well.
Oh yeah.
Which hopefully this is out by the time that's started, or before it starts, rather.
Yeah. So New Year's Day, that'll be a really fun event. We're also doing something on January 18th with our friend Alicia. That's a collaborative event with yoga, sound bath, and sauna cold water. That'll be downtown Milwaukee. Super cool venue at Poe Studio. So excited for that. And we'll continue to have sauna socials coming up and just different opportunities to connect with us. And
Sound bath. I've never done it.
I love sound baths.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I mean, sound bath is, I've always enjoyed it. I've only done field
Just like vibrational healing. Somebody shows up, they have instruments and a certain approach to using these instruments and gadgets and gizmos like singing bowls and gongs and cymbals and rattles and rain sticks and all the things. And usually there's a philosophy that also encompasses, the experience that the facilitator will start with. We have a friend, Jordan Moon, amazing human being, who did a sound bash for us this past April. I think we did the podcast like right before that, maybe, because I was looking when we did the last podcast, and he had us set up there and basically you go on a journey. It's a meditative journey with sound and yourself, and you're with community too, so there's that element.
How long does it last? How long are they?
like 30 minutes to an hour. I think usually closer to an hour.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned that you did red light this morning, or you do red light?
I just have this like skinny LED panel, so it's not like near infrared where it's penetrating through the skin to the bones and stuff like that. But I know it's good for skin health, one thing, and then it just feels good to just have some light on my body in the morning because the sun doesn't come up for like 2 hours by the time I get up, so it just gives me an option to like chill with some nice warm light. So I turn that thing on. It's a cheap one. I would like to get a nicer red light panel, but it's kind of pricey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about? Otherwise, you got a couple final questions and then they got the.
I think that's it.
I don't know. No, I also just want to say I was super inspired just hearing you talk about how many fire stations now have good health saunas in them and how your story regarding that, and then kind of talking the talk and walking the walk that this is important to me. I want the CO guys to be healthy. I have deep connections to it. And I want you to do it more often and more often. And just because the health benefits are so immense. And that's where we're at too, of just we see the incredible energy that our work creates and the changes that we're able to see in individuals, and then also in these community spaces. And so we're just dreaming about how do we also make that a daily thing, and how do we engage more people to just liven up to these health practices and everything. And so we're got things in the works for 2026, and that's super exciting.
That's awesome. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's a kind of a personal goal of getting our sauna in as many fire stations as possible. I mean, it kind of started in the industry of detox and stuff like that, sweating smoke out of our skin after fighting fire. But there's so many other health benefits, aspects that come along with it. The mental health benefits, the recovery after working hard, working a tough fire where your body needs to recover, the cardiovascular benefits, because the number one killer of firemen is heart attack, heart disease. So the heart health that comes along with the sauna is just phenomenal. And if we can reduce our risk for heart attack, heart disease, that's going to increase our longevity and our higher quality of life for firemen or anybody in general. And then, just everything that comes with all that stuff.
Only if it's good health saunas.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Just kidding. But, but also kind of true.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to finish up with a question, each one of you. So give me your top 3 reasons you enjoy using the sauna. What are the top 3 benefits that you look forward to using and why you enjoy using it? So whichever one wants to start, if you want to do one and then the other.
And I would just say the top one for me is just a melting of any noise in my head, and intrusive thoughts or rumination, or my mind is so active. It's very ADD. It wants to problem solve all the time. So that kind of just totally erodes after a good sauna session. And then secondly, just the connection I get to share with others in the sauna, or the connection I get to establish with myself, just being in solitude and having that space to be present, because I'm not bringing my phone in the sauna. I'm not bringing earbuds in the sauna, or maybe every once in a blue moon I'll have earbuds in the sauna, but I'm pretty anti-technology in saunas as a whole, because I think that space should be for you, or you and the people around you to connect. And then thirdly, I don't have a third. You go. I'll think about it.
I think my number one thing is just to sit down for an hour. And just to sit down and not do anything, and just let my body naturally do what it's supposed to do, and eat. And really feel into that experience, just what's happening. But really, I mean, just sitting down. I'm just a very busy person, and have a lot of projects and a lot of things happening all the time, including homeschooling my kids and running businesses and doing all this stuff. And it's I don't get a lot of time where it's just uninterrupted. I could just sit there and relax. And so that's the big thing. Number one is just the time to relax. 2, just getting that deep sweat, just sweating quite crazy. It just feels so good, especially when we're doing contrast therapy, of just having the expansion of the sweat, the detoxification, the opening of the lungs and the cardiovascular system, to then go into cold water and have the contraction experience, and really have to find calm and meditation in that, and back, and just priming these pumps of the body is what I really enjoy. And then third, definitely the community aspect. Like it was nice for us three to just be sandwiched in there this morning, and it was just great. I mean, just talking and having a good time. And
I could hear you guys having fun.
yeah, we were having fun. I mean, we had the speakers going. We were just like jamming in there, and then also just talking about this would be great for what we were creating and just different ideas for stuff. And like I think that's also just one of the hidden benefits, just the creativity that gets access. Yeah, like you're feeling good in your body and you're having all of these like kind of chemical experiences naturally just through the heat. And it's amazing what comes up. It's just like how excited and idealistic things are. And then you really like root down into like using just yourself and finding some space. And then, awesome. Yeah. So
I would say for third, I was gonna say detoxification. So that's on the list somewhere, maybe not third, but the access my ability to access a higher version of myself. So we do have all those neurotransmitters firing on all cylinders and, getting really deeply into my body versus my head and being caught up in there and that mental energy. And I think that just is sort of like a portal for inspiration and new ideas and concepts and really just, so that element of it is what I really like.
Yeah, for sure. That's my number one, the mental clarity, number one. Number one, that. Number two, wood. And then number three for me is just my body feels really good with less inflammation. It's just very addicting feeling. Well, I'm glad I turned you into infrared sauna believers now.
Yeah, good one. We're followers.
I was recalling last time we were on and you asked me, what do you like most, like the cold or the heat? And I was at the time I said cold plunge. And like this season, I have really enjoyed the heat. For whatever reason that is, getting older and just wanting to like, be warm. But this is
we're in the 40 club now.
I know. In the 40 club. I'm excited about this decade. I've been thinking about my life as like, I'm 40 now. What do I want to look like at 50? Yeah. And really think about it in this kind of longer time scale of like, what are the things that by 50 I really want to be able to do? One was at my birthday party on the moon. We thought,
wow, I like that. You gotta invite me.
Yeah, for sure. I'll get you on that.
We'll do a podcast on it.
Yeah.
All right, podcast. We're gonna bring, or maybe like our fourth big podcast.
Yeah. But having like kind of bigger goals and then just walking them back and thinking about what is the one thing I can do today to get to that next goal. And, so I don't know. People have this weird thing about age. One of my best friends reached out to me. He's like, yeah, it's nice seeing you doing all this stuff, especially, as this older stage in your life. And I was like, later stage of your life. And I'm like, yeah, man, I guess. Like, but like, that's a very, ingrained thing. That's like, oh, I'm 40. I gotta shut her down. Retirement's coming soon. Just stay inside. It's like, man, it's just that's not it.
Our internal narrative, what story are we telling ourselves about our predicament and how does that influence the reality experience? Like you were talking about going into hot yoga and you had this assumption that everybody would be in shape and that was a story you were telling yourself that was preventing you from showing up, but that wasn't the case at all. Right. And as, conscious beings, we have agency over our story. We can be the authors of our story versus believing the first thing that pops in the head based off of previous conditioning. And that's another mindset piece we bring to the table with the Hive, and something we want people to know is like you're a powerful, resilient being that can make conscious choices, and you can believe what thoughts to entertain or not to entertain, what things to put aside, and so on. Yeah, this man's telling a good story. You can tell with, turning 40. It's like, dude, you're just getting started,
Yeah, I started. Wait till you see me on the moon.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I was telling you a story today that I couldn't do a stretch that I could used to do in my sauna. I was using my sauna this morning and I normally do a stretch and I couldn't get into it. And I was like, and literally thought this morning, like, is this what they say that when people say I can't do physically what I used to do? So I'm just gonna have to work on that stretch a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
You'll get it. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Tyler. I always love hanging out with you guys. You guys are awesome people. Thank you for what you guys do in the community. Our community definitely needs it, and you guys do a fantastic job at that. If they want to reach out to you, if any of the listeners want to reach out to you, Bill, where do they reach out to you at?
My personal Instagram account is YoWildBill. So holler. I'm down to hang out, down to go for a bike ride, down to paint pictures, whatever. Let's have a good time. Yeah. I like making new friends. Don't be scared to hit me up. I'm accessible.
Yeah. All right, and Tyler?
I'm just tyler.hart.mke on Instagram. That's a good way to find me. Or just, just come to one of our events.
Come to the event.
And what's the website again?
It's hivemke.com.
All right, perfect. Hive MKE.
Yeah, and Hive MKE, everything for all social media. So Facebook and Instagram. Instagram we're most active on, but Instagram and Facebook are connected. So anything on Instagram is on Facebook.
Yeah, so like, share, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. All right, perfect. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah.
It's Eric, the Sweat Fanatic here. So if you're looking for an infrared sauna for your house or your business, definitely consider Good House Sauna. We got the best heaters in the market. We got the thickest construction. We've been in business for over 23 years, and we have the phenomenal reputation. So that's it for this episode of the Sweat Fanatic Podcast. And until next time, get out there and sweat.